Welcome to our. See, is this on? Welcome to our 2010 graduation at Grace Prep. You can be seated now. If I almost cried during that song, it might be a long morning because it's just such an honor to be able to assemble like this in a school setting and give praise to God, isn't it? It's a good time. And I love that song. We sing the same one every time because I just love it every time. So, 6 years ago, we had a calling from the Lord to start Grace Prep. And I can't believe how fast years have gone. And these are our 58th. The final graduate today will be our 58th graduate. And we are very proud of the students that we're producing. And you can be proud as parents and relatives of the accomplishments they've made just to get through Grace Prep. It is a difficult program. It's one where you can't hide. We know the students individually, and we love them, and we care for them. And so you can be very proud to have a graduate from Grace Prep. I want to read to you our Grace Prep educational vision. It says, our vision for education involves much more than learning. The current paradigm declares students to be well educated upon their mastery of a system based upon rote memorization, simplistic historical perspectives, and imaginary benchmarks of academic busyness. It is a government-controlled system that by mandate attempts to equalize all value systems and ends up teaching the morality of the lowest common denominator. Without a biblical thread to tie history, science, literature, and arts together, students are besieged with disconnected, irrelevant information that produces overloaded minds and undereducated kids. At Grace Prep, we hold fast to our belief that proper academic preparation rests on the pillars of practical retention, broad historical perspectives, cultural literacies, and the development of an intelligent biblical worldview based upon critical and analytic thinking. At our school, at Grace Prep, a well-educated student is one who acknowledges the complexity of life, understands the wide range of opinions on these complexities, and most importantly, is able to distinguish, through a well-developed biblical filter, those matters that involve right and wrong, and those that are subject to personal preferences and priorities. We believe in that vision, that revelation, and we believe it's important. We're not here as an opposition to public education, just, I think, a very godly alternative. I want to talk a little bit about vision today, because I'm trying to avoid the word, because I've learned something in the last 6 months or a year about vision. And that is that we talk a lot about that when we talk about the start of Grace Prep or the start of a church or things that God is behind. But really, we generally, as Christians, use the verse from Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. But the fact is, our definition of vision today is much different from a leadership perspective than it was at the time that the New Testament and the Old Testament was translated. In other words, people had visions in the Bible. Peter had a vision. There was all kinds of visions. What were those visions? Were they plans made by men? Were they thoughts? Were they creative ideas? Were they? Well, the answer is no. They were revelations from God. And the proper translation of that verse says, where there is no revelation, the people perish. So it's changed my thinking from vision, which is man-centered and man-made, to the fact is, when there is no revelation, people perish. Where there is no word from God, where there is no humility, people perish. Students, we talked from the beginning of the year about humility. It's been a lesson I've been trying to learn this year, which I've been fairly unsuccessful at doing. But I want to read to you a couple definitions of humility from Andrew Murray. It says, humility is perfect quietness of heart. It is for me to have no trouble, never to be fretted or vexed or irritated or sore or disappointed. It is to expect nothing, to wonder at nothing that is done to me, to feel nothing done against me. It is to be at rest when nobody praises me and when I am blamed or despised. It is to have a blessed home in the Lord where I can go in and shut the door and kneel to my Father in secret and be at peace as in a deep sea of calmness when all around is trouble. William Temple said, humility does not mean thinking less of yourself than of other people, nor does it mean having a low opinion of your own gifts. It means freedom from thinking about yourself one way or the other at all. And I think there's a real freedom in humility. The fact is, vision will get you kudos and personal acclaim. But humility will change the heart of the neighbor next door and change the destiny of the poor, the oppressed, and the orphan. And the fact is, I'd be remiss today when we talk about orphans not to show that the Grace Prep family is reaching out across the world. It's living the revelation and the vision. And I wanted to introduce, I haven't told them this today, but I want to introduce the Schellenberger family who just came back last night, drove in, and flew in from Russia with their new baby girl, Rebecca Schellenberger. So give them a round of applause. Finally, students, I want to tell you the wisdom of Winnie the Pooh. You know, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet are pretty good friends. And in a conversation between Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, Piglet sidled up to Pooh from behind. Pooh, he whispered. Yes, Piglet. Nothing, said Piglet, taking Pooh's paw. I just wanted to be sure of you. And as I read that, I thought, I want you to be sure of him, to be sure of God. Don't get too far ahead in your dreams or your visions. Just take revelation one day at a time. God says, Psalms 32:8, I will instruct you and teach you in the way that you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Psalm 119:105 says, thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I want you to remain faithful to the things you've been taught because you can trust those who taught you. Be sure of him. Smith, be sure of him. Ashley, be sure of him. Jolanda, be sure of him. Callie, be sure of him. All the graduates, be sure of him. And take it day by day. I want to introduce now our salutatorian. Our salutatorian has been with us for 4 years, is an exceptional student, and a great story. Her mother, Dee, worked 3 jobs to bring Fenny to America in search of a great education and a great future. And she landed with us here at Grace Prep. And Fenny responded to that dream and to that sacrifice by being one of the best students we've ever had. She has a GPA of 3.97. And just to give you a little perspective on that, we have never had a 4.0 student. Not yet. It's hard to be perfect. It's hard to get a 3.97 at Grace Prep. They've worked very hard. Fenny's been on the soccer team for 4 years. She's an athlete. She's been on the yearbook staff for 4 years. She's been editor for 3 years. We don't have just any yearbook. We have a yearbook that's a gold medallion winner in the Columbia University Scholastic Press Association. It's quality work. And Fenny, more than that, has a quiet spirit. She's a person of humility, a person with a deep, deep walk with the Lord, and a person universally respected among the teachers, the staff, and the students. I want to introduce to you now the 2010 salutatorian of Grace Prep, Fenny Lai.